analysis, like the static and dynamic one, few hunting techniques at the end of the presentation. So what is Minecraft? How many of you know Minecraft and play it? Raise your hands. Almost everyone. That's perfect. That's perfect. I have to admit that I don't play Minecraft, but I analyze the Minecraft malware. So the Minecraft is a popular game which has user base of more than 200 million people, or players, according to some statistics. And what is the most interesting for us is that it supports mods, so the users can create modifications. And there are some estimates that more than 1 million gamers and developers are involved into creating these mods. It's written in Java. Usually it's very heavily obfuscated, and it's not very easy or convenient to analyze it. So many researchers don't like analyzing Java, and very often like these stealers and the malware for Minecraft is, I would say, quite overlooked. Usually the Minecraft malware doesn't run in sandboxes because the sandboxes would need some dependencies, and these dependencies are not installed. So the malware usually doesn't run in sandboxes. Few terms before I start presentation. If you want to play the game, you need to install the client or launcher, either official one or there are some third-party or unofficial ones. And if you want to run these mods, you need to install mod loader. And there are like few different mod loaders. This is the software which allows you to run the mods and manage them. And the most important ones are Forge and Fabric. For the distribution methods, it's a little bit, I would say, different than most of the typical malware, because in many typical malware campaigns, for example, it's enough just to send file by email. User can simply click on it and execute it. In case of malware, they need to be done like a few more steps. So usually like what the threat actors do, they just disguise these malicious mods as some cheats, script, or some kind of like macro automation tools. They just upload these mods, for example, into some malware, some mod sharing websites. Sometimes they even create like fake website to host these files. Then they usually use social media just to convince victims to download the file and install it. So it needs some victim interaction. Very popular distribution method is YouTube, where the attackers usually create accounts which contain many game-related videos. Very often these videos are stolen from elsewhere. And what is the most important is what is in the links, in the description of these videos. There are usually some links, and actors usually engage in comments. So for example, in one of these videos, when you watch the video, you see the comment here, and it says like the mod is here, go to, in this case, go file. There's the file which gets downloaded. And when the people ask, or when the potential victim asks like how to run it, what to do, the attackers just write to the comments, just put it to the mod directory and execute it, and everything will be fine. Another method are the Stargazers networks. And very shortly, Stargazers networks are the networks operated as distribution as a service, which means that the attackers has many accounts, and some of these accounts distribute malware, and many other accounts do like the forking, starring, or watching. So these operations make the repositories more popular and more kind of looking more legitimate. And then they upload their files, they put there the description, and they also include the jar file, which the victim should download and put into the proper directory. For the malware, I chose like two families which I analyzed. The first one is this, like we called it like Baikal Stealer. Why Baikal? Because it was the name of the package of the stealer. So we name it after that. It was designed as the Minecraft Forge 1.8.9 mod. What was interesting, or what is important for like us researchers, that it doesn't have the main class attribute in the manifest. So when you or Sandbox tries to run it by java-jar space file name, it didn't work. It usually printed the following message, like no main manifest attribute. And if you see like some of these samples even uploaded to VirusTotal or other sandboxes, you often see the file giving like this kind of error message. So basically, no log, no output is being produced in these cases. And another thing is that these loaders or these malwares, they need to have like some dependencies. So in this case, if you decompile the file, you can see that it needs like this net.minecraftforge.fml for forge mod loader dot like some other classes which are usually not present in sandboxes. Also, these stealers, these loaders of the stealers, which is usually the first stage, they also need to contain, or they usually contain some anti-VM techniques. And for Java, there are like specific like techniques or specific attributes in the properties, and these properties are called like java.vm.name, java.vm.vendor, operating system name, etc. So these attributes are just retrieved, and then the malware checks if there is any of these forbidden keywords. If yes, the loader doesn't download and load the next stages. And a similar thing can happen in a listing of the available processes or currently running processes. So if the malware sees any VBox or like PRL, like Parallels, VMware, or other tools for inspecting the traffic, like Wireshark, HTTP debugger, or TCP view, then basically the loader stops and doesn't load the main stage. Then the main stage of the stealer, like in this case, it steals all the important credentials related to the Minecraft, like the username, player ID, access tokens, and also it steals these files called account.json, like different file for different client, which contain like additional credentials, additional tokens, access tokens, refresh tokens, which basically allow to log into someone's account even without knowing the password. And also they steal Discord and Telegram data because these messengers are like very popular among gamers. And of course, the stolen data are then just posted to the CNC server, usually in the form of like JSON object, where you have the keys having like what information is being stolen, followed by the value with the stolen information. Then I was looking at more like if there are like any maybe like even more interesting, more complex stealers or rats. And then I found like this one. It's called like Max Rat, and this will be like the another part of the presentation. And this is quite interesting because it was designed as kind of like more like complex system. I would say it's kind of like malware as a service system, which has like several components. And we need to see these components like from, let's say, from the point of view of the person who is sometimes called like a ratter, the person who kind of like script kiddie person who doesn't know maybe how to develop their own malware, but they can just join the dedicated build server. It's usually like Discord server. From this server, they will download the builder. With the builder, they will build their own malware, and then they will get the first stage of the malware, which is loader. It is designed as a Minecraft mod. They will distribute this loader among all the victims, and basically this is the way how they gather like all or steal all the data. The loader usually is the first stage, which then downloads the module loader, which can contain like different modules. And I will talk about these modules like later. Some of them are, I would say, quite interesting. All these stages which I'm showing here, so this stage needs to be run as Minecraft mod. The other stages are written in Java, and they don't need to be run as Minecraft mods. And also like some parts like the stealer or this remote access tool can contain some native DLL libraries, which might get maybe injected to other processes. And it's done this is useful for the tasks which cannot be easily implemented purely in Java. So this is the example of build servers. So the build server, it can have like different names, then there are like different like topics, features, there are tutorials how to use it. So basically if someone wants to build a free rat, they just follow the tutorial and they are offered the builder jar file. So they just download it. They just download this jar file, and it might look like this. Some of these versions are like with nice GUI, this nice picture of the rat. There is like one button and one text field. Into the text field, they will put their own Discord webhook. There are like different versions, many different versions of these builders. And after entering the webhook, after some time, they will get the built version of the loader, which can be distributed among victims. One thing I should mention here, that there have been quite a few build servers and builders, but not all of them are real. Some of them are kind of like fake, so they didn't work at all. So when I created the webhook, I didn't get any payload. But what is more interesting that several times I just infected myself. So basically, instead of building any payload, the person who wants to build the payload gets infected by themselves. So this is like example after decompiling like one of these fake builders. So you can see webhook builder, little bit below, you can see that it downloads something here from some server. Then it saves the file into like a startup directory. They call it like SQLite-JDBC- some number.jar, and later they execute it. So basically, the builder itself is just like kind of like malware itself, and these wannabe retters get just infected by that. Then now I will talk about loaders. The loader is basically the first stage which gets distributed to victims, and basically the loader gets all this basic information similar to what I talked about in the previous stealer. They get username, player ID, access token, session ID. They also subscribe for something which is called like tick event that 20 times per second. Basically this event is delivered to the Minecraft client, and during this event, they just check if the access token and session ID are the same ones as which have been submitted to the CNC server. If no, basically then it starts again with the collection of this information. Then the loader downloads additional components or stages, spammer, stealer, remote access tool. It communicates with CNC server via TCP sockets, and basically it communicates with different ports, and each port serves different type of payload, and also there is like specific port for exfiltration of the stolen data. For the loader, again, it's usually very obfuscated, and even after the obfuscating all the stages, I can just notice that there are still there are some functions which communicate, or which basically functions which are called to the main kind of like Minecraft like game or Minecraft instance, and the functions have usually these names like function or field underscore some numbers underscore another like letter. So basically all the names in the deobfuscated file are still kind of like scrambled, but thanks to the like modding community, there are like some kind of like mapping repositories, so we can just search for each of these field names. So for example, we can discover this field with this name can be interpreted as Minecraft data directory, or another field or another function can be interpreted as get username. So basically, in many of these stealers, we can see some of these functions and some of these user-friendly names. So one of them is like for getting the username, getting player ID, getting the Minecraft instance, directory where the Minecraft is installed, getting the session ID. Then the module loader is the next stage I will describe, and this module loader, it determines like what type of subscription the user has, either free one or the premium one. For the premium, some money, they need to pay some money. And based on the free or premium version, it downloads like additional modules. It's also important to say that to run this stage independently, you don't need to have the Minecraft game, but you need to know like which package and which class and maybe which arguments you need to start the jar file with. And you cannot simply run it by java-jar. You need to use this -cp, like the class path, like a switch. One module which is quite interesting, and I would say I've never seen it like very often or with the malware, is the spamming module. And this is the module which basically searches for Discord tokens in browsers and standard applications, and there are tens of them. Then they extract the token, validate it, see in which server the victim is active. They check all the channels, and into each of these channels, they send the following message. I have been ratted by MaxRat. Then there is the description of the remote access tool. They say that they have this beautiful GUI. You can see there is the typo. They're probably not like native English speakers. And they say, join us in Discord channel at this URL. And they do the same thing with listing all the friends of the victim and sending the same message only to them. And this is only present in the free version. not in the premium version. And this is the way how the attackers want to motivate these retters to pay them some money, because if they don't do it, so when a victim gets infected, all their contacts get immediately notified that this victim got infected, and maybe these contacts could notify them just to change the password that something has happened. So basically the last thing the retter wants to know or wants to do is to notify all the victims that something wrong happened. So I would say it's quite interesting to do it in such a way, just spamming all the contacts. Then there is the main stealer. Then the main stealer steals information from tens of different Chromium or Firefox-based browsers, like the cookies, passwords, autofills. Here is where it comes to the play the embedded DLL file, which gets injected into Chromium-based processes, and it's used for decrypting like a bound master key. Then they steal the crypto wallets. They steal Minecraft accounts from several different major clients. There's this JSON file, similar to the previous stealer. They steal already installed Minecraft mods, Discord tokens, payment information, if there is any, and also if there is Discord application installed. This application is developed or programmed in Electron framework, so they just search for index.js file and try to put there like some kind of like one command, like one line, which tries to execute the stealing module. So this is some kind of form of persistence. And after stealing all the data, everything gets sent to the CNC server, which listens on non-standard port, like 6662 in this case. It starts again with the JSON object, with the keys and values which contains just identification of the victim, which follows with base64 encoded zip file, which contains like additional stolen data. And the last module I will describe here, which is a little bit interesting, and I think it's the newest one, which I found like maybe 1 or 2 months ago. There's the remote access module, which has basically all typical remote access features, but I will talk only about this client action feature, which is like another sub command called padlock, and the padlock can lock keyboard input, mouse input, or it can freeze the desktop. And for freezing the desktop or making the desktop less usable, they use another embedded DLL file called padlock, and this file gets the dimension of the screen. Then after that, it will draw a black rectangle over the whole dimension of the screen. They will use the black brush, so the whole screen will be black. Then they will set opacity to about 85%, and then they will show the windows. So basically, the victim, if the mouse and keyboard is not blocked, the victim will basically see everything what's happening on the screen, but it will be dimmed, like you can see like in this screenshot. So it's still usable, but it's very difficult to see, or more difficult to see what's happening on the screen. Little bit about the name like Max. So why is it like Max Rat, or who is Max? So there have been a couple of domains like Max Libraries, Max Again, Max Go File, Max Laugh, Max Again.biz.ua. UA is Ukraine, so maybe the guys from there, top-level domain Ukraine. Also in one of these main stealers, I've seen the following string with the following content. Hello, my name is Max. I'm 17. I love making rat, and I will love you too if you use me. I used it, only for testing, of course. You can also write to me and talk to me. I often get bored. And also in manifest information, there is often like this name. Not sure if it is this Max, but when I search for it online in Russian-speaking forums, so these screenshots are like translated from Russian to English, he's asking like Minecraft session ID, red token stealer. Java obfuscator for Minecraft mods. How to use cookies. Probably as many cookies, doesn't know how to utilize it. Where Minecraft keeps passwords. And then there is also like one version called like Donut SMP, which uses some coins. And he's asking, he has lots of these Donut SMP coins, which he wants to monetize some way. So where and how to buy things with these coins. Might be him, might someone impersonate this person, who knows. A little bit for the evolution. So I was like looking if there are like any similar rats. So I've been, the oldest one which I found was called like this Maven rat, which seems to be then rebranded to Max rat. Then there is another rat with this kind of like censored name, but the administrator uses this kind of cat as the profile. So I call it like censored name rat. There are also like many different GUIs, like graphical user interfaces of the builders. Some of them are small, simple. You can see even like default logo of Java over here. Some of them are like kind of like in development stage, like this one. Other ones, the more nice, were those which I have shown before with the rat. There have been also like different build servers which had different names, like Maven Rat, Comeback, I Love Rat 2.0, Best Rat, etc. Then this Max Rat was kind of like quiet for a couple of months at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. But while I was preparing this presentation, the first slides I did in maybe February, March, I just noticed that there was some update. I got a message to the Discord channel where I was subscribed, and they said that they are just moving out of Discord. They created new malware as a service dedicated platform, and this is how the platform looked like. Nice description. Everything was like very nice, visually done. They also created the inside of the website. They created a new builder for building custom payloads, so no need to download the builder and use the webhooks, etc. So everything got like much smoother, much easier. Few words about analysis. So it's like in Java, so the samples are usually very obfuscated. But if you keep tracking these kind of threads for a longer time, sometimes I was lucky. Some samples were less obfuscated or not obfuscated at all. But it happens like maybe 1 of 100 cases. So it's not very often. Usually, when you try to decompile the scripts, you can see something like that. So it's like not very easy to analyze it. So I would say the better approach is to use it to run the samples dynamically. But if you want to run the sample dynamically, you just need to install like do some other steps. So you need to install the launcher. I used legacy launcher, but there are many others I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation. You need to create account for the game. For legacy launcher, you don't need to register anywhere. You just click a few times and create the account. Then you need to check the mod metadata to see which mod version and which mod loader you need, either Forge or Fabric. In this case, it was like Forge 1.8.9. Then you need to install it. Sometimes you need to patch malware if there are any anti-VM checks. Then you need to put the malware in the proper directory, usually like the launcher, blah, 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 /mods directory, where you copy the file. Then you start the game. Then you can click enter the game, and finally you can observe the malicious traffic. So there are like few steps. Also, like one thing I was a little bit doing experiments, like if I have the obfuscated Java malware, like I just found like there is one project on GitHub. It's called like btrace, and it should allow dynamic tracing of the functions. So for obfuscated samples or for obfuscated files, it might be helpful. And this is kind of the similar thing to binary instrumentation for those of you if you use Spin, or if you are here tomorrow. One of my colleagues who is here, he'll be talking about API tracing for Node.js. You can do the same thing for Python, etc. So in this case, basically I created a simple btrace script, and I told him that I want to trace all the classes which start with java.star, all the methods, and I wanted to print all the parameters. I just compile everything, run it with the btrace agent, and I just got the following output. So even though the file was like very obfuscated, I could, for example, see like init socket address constructor was run with these 2 parameters. Every time there was access to the file, I could see the name of the file. So here you could see the DLL, which got injected into the browser process. Every time like one stage of the malware downloaded and loaded another stage, then URL class loader was involved. So, I mean, this approach is not perfect. There's lots of limitations. But if the malware is very heavily obfuscated, it's much easier just to run it than just spend lots of time with the obfuscating. A little bit about the hunting techniques. So when the Discord servers were still active, just finding the Discord invite links was quite easy. I just went to YouTube, searched for proper keywords, because below each of these invite links, there have been like lots of different keywords like session stealer, session ID stealer, Minecraft, money-making methods, 100 million, etc., etc. So just keep searching for some of these keywords, and sooner or later, you find some server, Discord server, which works. Hunting for the jar files, either with builder of the stealer, was usually also quite easy, because even though the content of the files is basically zip file or compressed, then the names of the files, like GUI.class, or in case of the main stealer, Maven or Max / Maven or Max-T / cookie.class, for example, the file names have been the same, or they didn't change very often. So I could just create like few of these simple rules, and I could be hunting these campaigns for several months, maybe half a year easily. And the third option is also to look maybe if there are like archives with the stolen victim data. So in this stealer, like one thing it does, it takes the screenshot, and they put it in the file, which is called like, but they don't spell the file name screenshot.php. For some reason, the letter O is replaced by I. It might be just for fun, or it might be by the mistake, because O and I are next to one another on the keyboard. So when you search in VirusTotal, you get, for the file name, I just got like 100, in this case, 140 different like archives with stolen data. And then you can extract these archives and see what's being stolen. So even though it's maybe the file is very obfuscated, you can see that in this case, for example, it steals autofill, cookies, DLL browser directory. So probably something gets injected into the DLL browser, application-bound encryption, and these are the files which get stolen from this type of thing. Discord.txt contains Discord tokens. And here you can see, for example, for Minecraft, stolen files like lunar.json, app.db. Here is the screenshot.php, etc. So as a conclusion, I would say like many people or many researchers and analysts, I think they don't like the Java because it's often like not very too easy to analyze. I would say also there are like not many blogs, not many presentations about Minecraft malware. It often doesn't run in sandboxes because it needs all these dependencies. There are many variants, often rebranded, as I shown before. Even if you download the builder, you should never run it on your like real machine. Everything should be run in the virtual machine, because many of these builders are Trojanized and they don't run at all. They just keep their malware developing actively for all new trends. Static analysis is limited. Dynamic analysis is better. And this is the last screenshot. So I co-authored this blog post like last year. So you can just really read a little bit more information about it. And that's all for my presentation.
So we have time for 1 or 2 questions. Mettre un peu de lumière. Some lights to wake you up. Come on, guys, girls.
Yes, there's one here.
Very interesting presentation, thank you. I was just wondering, obviously this is an example of one specific game, Minecraft, mods being used for malware. Have you seen on the sidelines any sort of like other games that are moddable being used as another technique for infection?
I didn't spend like any time like looking at other games, because I would say this was like one of my main focuses or main topics like a couple of months ago. But here and there, of course, like if there is any game or any software which is popular by some at least meaningful amount of people, then of course you can, or very likely you will find the same campaigns or similar campaigns targeting like these other games or other software.
Okay. Ouais.
Une question là-haut.
Ouais.
Hello. I noticed that the code was obfuscated for MaxRat. Do you know what kinds of like code transformations might have been applied? I saw there might have been some MBA or something like that.
I was not sure. Like, I have seen like they use like some type of obfuscators, but somewhere I found a name which was called, I think, like skidfuscator or something like that. But I wasn't sure if it is really this one. So it's like difficult to say exactly. So I think it was more something I would say more custom.